Hey entrepreneur, this is Mark Newsom, Mr. Marketing. Welcome to this special presentation entitled Introducing 5 Extremely Critical Email Marketing Terms and or Concepts, ladies and gentlemen. You definitely need to know and be aware of so that you can stop struggling and spinning your wheels with regard to what it takes to be effective with low cost, high powered email marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, the ultimate purpose of this video is to introduce you to 5 extremely critical email marketing terms and or concepts so that when it comes to effective email marketing, you're not literally throwing your money down the drain and wasting your resources and your efforts. Now, there's nothing magical in and of itself about email marketing other than the fact that it's low cost. But if you don't adhere to certain basic proven fundamentals, you're not going to be successful with it. And by the way, when we talk about these terms, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about using a paid email service provider. So let's take a look at this first term. This is very important, by the way, something referred to as your bounce rate. Now, online, there's also a bounce rate that refers to your website. That's not what we're talking about here. Your bounce rate actually has 2 subcategories, if you will. This first one, which is known as a hard bounce rate, this is the one you got to be very aware of. Here's what a hard bounce means. Your email service provider, remember your paid email service provider, sends an email to a particular recipient, and for whatever reason, it's simply not going to be delivered ever. Now you may say, well, why is that, Mark? There's a gazillion reasons, but here's the main one. Let's just say for some reason, the email holder of that particular address, they've moved on. Offline about every 5 to 7 years, people change addresses, right? You've probably done it yourself a couple of times. So, I certainly have. So the point is, when you get a hard bounce rate, that means under no circumstances is that email ever going to actually hit that person's inbox. Now, we're not talking about it going to the spam box. It's not even going to make it to the spam box. It's not deliverable. That's why it's a hard bounce. And again, the main reason is they've moved on. They don't even open the email address anymore. And as a result, one of the email service providers has shut the account down. And because this person has so many other lists that they're on, they haven't realized that they need to come back and re-opt in with a valid email address. So that has something to do with your bounce rate. Now, the other term was referred to as a soft bounce rate. Now, this one is a little more manageable. This means there's a temporary reason that for some reason the email didn't make it to their inbox. And that could be maybe the email is temporarily full. Now, again, there's a gazillion other reasons, but those are the main 2 you want to be aware of with regards to bounce rate. And obviously, if the bounce rate is too high, this sort of affects the overall delivery rate of that email service provider, in which case there could be some problems if the bounce rate gets to be too high. So you want to pay attention to that. Now, I will say this, ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering, well, Mark, how am I going to know the difference? Basically, here's the definition of a hard bounce. If for whatever reason that email keeps going to that address, that email message, and it just doesn't get delivered over, I don't know, maybe the next 10 emails, next 2 months, you probably need to remove that person because that particular address is no longer valid. Now, here's the next term that you want to be aware of, and this is called your opt-in rate. Now, basically, ladies and gentlemen, we're referring to somebody getting on your email list. Now, for this specific example, we're going to suggest that we're only going to monitor these leads that get sent to a specific page that's designed to do one thing and one thing only, ladies and gentlemen, and that is get the visitor's contact information. So in which case we're sending them to a lead capture page. And if that term, or sometimes the old school terms refer to it as a squeeze page. The point is, if you're not familiar with that term, at the end of this presentation, there's going to be a web address for you to go to that has an example of a squeeze page. And hopefully you'll decide to join my list, but that remains to be seen. Anyway, let's take a look at the numbers so you'll see how this works. We're going to say that 100 unique visitors, think of an offline store for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. 100 unique people come to your store. Now, what we're saying is, of these 100 unique visitors, No matter how many times they come back, that's still the same person. So these 100 unique visitors go directly to your squeeze page. And out of that, we'll say 22 actually end up joining your email list. So to figure out your opt-in rate, which is a percentage, you're simply going to take the number who actually subscribed, in this case 22, divided by the total number of people that got exposed to your lead capture page. When you do that division, in this particular example, you got 0.2222, and we're just going to round it off, multiply by 100, and we're going to round it off to 22%. Although it's 22% point, but just to keep everything simple, it's 22%. Your opt-in rate for this particular campaign was 22%. And again, you just take the numbers. Let's say you drove 4,000 people let's say you had a total number of 10,000 visitors went to a lead capture page, and 3,162 actually joined your list. And you divide the 3,162 by the 10,000, you get point something, multiply that by 100, that's your opt-in rate for that particular campaign. Now, this next term, your open rate, this refers to once you've actually got a subscriber. Remember, your opt-in rate is determining who actually subscribed. Now that you've got subscribers, let's find out how many are actually opening your email messages. So for this particular example, we're going to say you have 100 subscribers, and you send out a pre-written email message, or you may send out a broadcast, which just means it's not scheduled. You write it sort of on the fly, and you send it. So we're going to say that 100 subscribers get this email message. 22 of them open it. Again, it's the same calculation because I want to keep the numbers pretty simple. You divide the number of people that actually opened it by the number of people who actually got exposed to it. So in this case, 22 opened it out of the 100 that got exposed. You get some percentage. You multiply that by 100. So in this case, 22%. So your open rate was 22%, and your opt-in rate was actually 22%. That probably would never be the case, meaning the percentages would be exactly the same. But for the ease of calculation, until you get this terminology down and how you actually do the really simple math when you think about it, just a division problem, and then you multiply it by 100. But until you actually get the terminology down and kind of see the concepts, I just wanted to keep the numbers as uniform as possible. Now, this third one, ladies and gentlemen, this is sort of a subcategory of number 3. Is something called unique opens versus total opens. Now, for the life of me, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why, but some of the paid autoresponder services, some of the most respected ones out there, they do what's called a total opens calculation versus a unique opens calculation. Let me show you how this might work. We're going to say that you sent that same 100 emails. And again, we're going to say that 22 of the people actually opened it. So where it says UO, that's your unique open percentage, 22%. Now, let's say that of those 22, one particular subscriber opened the same email 5 additional times. Well, some email providers add that 5 to the 22, and they come up with a TO, total opens, of 27%, which in my opinion is misleading. But to find out which one your particular provider uses before you sign up, just, if they've got a toll-free number, call them, or if they have a customer support, email address, send the email question and ask them. In my opinion, think of it this way. If you had an offline store and 22 people came to your store, 22 unique visitors, and one person came back 5 times, in my opinion, you would still count that as 22. You wouldn't count the fact that this one person came back 5 additional times as a unique visit. It's still the same visitor. So this is sort of the same concept here. So in my opinion, you want to go for UOs, unique opens, not total opens. But I hope you see the difference there. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the 5th thing we want to talk about is your click-through rate, or what some people refer to as your CTR. Now, here's the way this would play out. We're now going to look at, of the people who actually opened your email, how many of them clicked a link to go to a specific offer of some kind? There's a calculation that's going to tell us that. Now, let me be clear here. Ladies and gentlemen, in most cases, if you want to track this, don't have more than one particular offer per email. Now, let me make sure I'm clear here. I meant to say don't have more than one unique link address. It's okay to have that same link in there multiple times, but don't have a link going to one offer and another one. You want to see what your CTR rate is for a specific offer. So that's very important. So let's see how this might work. We're going to say that once again, 22 people opened your email. That's your unique opens. Your unique opens, your open rate was 22%. But of the 22 people, 9 actually clicked the link. And again, we're saying it was the same link. Maybe you had it in there multiple times. But the point is, 9 of them actually clicked through to your offer or whatever you're trying to send these people with that link. Now, here's the point. To find out what that click-through rate is for this particular offer only, you take the 9 that actually opened it versus the 22, the total people that actually opened this email message. Of the 22 that actually received it, 9 actually, took the next step. And you get 0.4090 times that by 100, and for practical purposes, a 40% click-through rate for this particular offer. Ladies and gentlemen, entrepreneur, it's very important that you know these numbers, because as you move up in experience and you start dealing with some of the more experienced marketers online, they're going to want to know these questions or answers to these questions. And if you don't have them, you kind of look kind of amateurish and probably not the kind of person they want to be doing potential cross promotions or joint venture with and some of this other stuff that'll become available to you down the line. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who want to discover how you're going to add an additional 25% more gross profit to your bottom line, entrepreneur, if you're interested in learning how to do that the next 90 days or less without constantly having to add new customers and or clients, because that's outrageously expensive, you just got a glimpse into how you might be able to do some of that, then my friend, what you need to do is grab your free 9-page special report. And to get it, you just simply go to that website address down there. youcanmarketonlinenow.com/sales. But I got a quick question for you before you run off. Ladies and gentlemen, who else do you know in business who's struggling, who could definitely use some help? Do they respect your opinion? Because if they do, here's what I want you to do for them. I want you to forward this video to them ASAP and help them out. But only if they respect your opinion. Now, if you're asking, Mark, what do I need to do to get my business, product, or service to that next level, whatever that next level may happen to be? I'm so glad you asked. Ladies and gentlemen, on top of the free 9-page special report, I'm also going to throw in a free 22-part small business marketing mastery series. This is a $97 value. It's my free gift to you. This is an additional free 22 sequential email marketing lessons that you're going to receive on top of the 9-page special report. That's correct. It's my free gift to you. It's my way of saying thank you and welcome to the inner circle. But ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing. If for whatever reason, after you go through the free 9-page special report, hopefully at least a couple of times, and you read the free 22-part small business marketing mastery series at least a couple of times, if you genuinely, sincerely come to the conclusion that, you know what, Mark, this is good, but it's just not for me, then ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to unsubscribe anytime you wish for whatever reason you want, and we can still be friends. Fair enough? This is Mark Newsom, Mr. Marketing. We'll see you again real soon, entrepreneur, on the Marketing Minute.